afternoon, Packers fans. Aaron Negler here with your Packers Daily Chat, coming to you live on the Cheesehead TV social channels. It is Monday, and the Packers themselves dropped some pretty big news earlier today. First thing this morning, Ed Policy, longtime member of the upper echelon of the Packers Brain Trust, is indeed, by unanimous vote, going to be the next president and CEO of your beloved Green Bay Packers. Policy has been with the club for about 13 years now. He took over for Murphy when Mark Murphy delineated changed up the power structure and really started kind of honing in on the Titletown side of things, more of the business kind of operations to free up Murphy to be a little bit more involved on the football side. And I'm sure by now most people kind of expected this to happen and have probably read up on Policy and his history. Corey and I spoke about it a couple of episodes of Packer Transplants ago. There's a video here on the channel that you can check out where we talked about, why it made all the sense in the world, how the Packers are essentially drafting and developing at the CEO position. Not too much different than they've done at general manager or quarterback or really anywhere along their roster. I think Policy makes a world of sense. I'm very excited to see if there is a change in tenor in the organization from top to bottom in any way, shape, or form. I suspect, probably much like Gutekunst taking over for Ted Thompson, the way the team operates, the way he leads the Packers into this next stretch of their existence, I don't think it'll be that dissimilar than what Mark Murphy has done. I think Murphy has laid some really good groundwork for the way forward. I think, Titletown will continue to expand and Policy will probably take advantage of whatever opportunities come along, such as things like the draft, though I think the draft is probably a once in a lifetime proposition. But I don't doubt for a moment that Policy understands what the Packers mean to the community. He's been a member of the community now for over a decade plus, etc. Um, Probably had opportunities to bolt along the way and hasn't. I think he always knew this was kind of the path he should take. And I don't think we're going to see a material difference in how the Packers operate and their continued growth and their, you know, cherished place among the firmament of professional sports, which really that is your job as president and CEO of the Packers first and foremost. And I know in the Packers release, Policy mentioned how the relationship with the fans, the very special relationship, given the public nature of ownership, doesn't, stating he doesn't ever want to lose sight of that. I loved the phrase, bringing home a Lombardi will continue to be our North Star. It is keeping the main thing the main thing. I don't expect that the Packers will suddenly become different in how they project themselves and how they're seen by the outside world, by what they find important when it comes to messaging and things of that nature. But I do think they're in good hands. I think this is something that I think most observers have expected. He's been, I'm not going to say developed specifically for this role, but certainly throughout his career, from his time running the Arena Football League to everything he's done in Green Bay. Obviously, you can't really look at him without mentioning his family and his father and the work he did both in San Francisco and in Cleveland. But yeah, I think the Packers are in really good hands with Ed Policy for the foreseeable future once he takes over for Mark Murphy next year. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting to watch a Mark Murphy retirement tour, so to speak, in 2024. And who knows, maybe the Packers finally bring home that elusive Lombardi trophy, which would be, the third of Murphy's tenure, which is kind of crazy considering all the hate and vitriol and kind of negative stuff I see around Murphy's name when it's mentioned online. And I know it's, online is online and it's a bit of a cesspool just on most topics, but I think Mark Murphy has been an excellent steward for the franchise, and I hope he is given his due and appreciation from fans worldwide for putting them in a position to be extremely successful going forward. And undoubtedly, this will come to a head when the draft is held in Green Bay next year. It is very much, one of Murphy's crowning achievements. And like I said, I just hope, this year is spent kind of appreciating the position Mark has put the franchise in, and the way they will be handing it off to policy, and knowing that they won't miss a beat. Like the Packers are set up in such a way that uh, they should be able to continue doing what they do on the football side, continue to expand and grow on the business side, and Packers fans can sleep well knowing that the smallest team in pro sports is, chugging along and not going to miss a beat. The only other news is the Packers claimed a kicker that was reported on Friday, and it was made official by the Packers this afternoon. The kicker from Detroit. They lost out on the UFL kid, so why not bring in another kicker? Because you got to have 3 at all times, apparently. I kid. I would suspect this probably doesn't bode well for Greg Joseph heading into camp, but we'll see. Ways to go in that regard. Hello to everybody in the comment section. Hope you're all doing well. Garrison, how are you? Jim, Dan, what's up? Dan, now this conversation is riveting. Hey, dude, no one asked you to be here. So, cool. If you don't want to talk about the president and CEO of the Green Bay Packers, you probably shouldn't click on the link. That's just me. That's just how I roll on the internet. But you obviously are a glutton for punishment. Before I get going, I do want to give a shout out to our good friends over at Ticket King. That's right. Based in Wisconsin that's right. You know it. You guessed it. Since the early 90s, Ticket King. Located across the street from Lambeau Field on Oneida, they're happy to help you find just the right tickets for Packers games, from larger groups to single tickets, both home and away. They partner with local Green Bay businesses for tailgating and bus transportation to the games, so you don't have to worry about driving or parking. They're even open on game day for last-minute tickets or possible upgrades. They even have a drive-through window. If you're not in Green Bay, no problem. Just use the Ticket King link on the Cheesehead TV homepage, on our app, or indeed in the description of this video. Do it, folks. You don't want to use Ticketmaster, SeatGeek, StubHub, none of this national nonsense. When you're buying Packers tickets, use a company that's been based in Wisconsin since the early 90s. Ticket King is your one-stop shop for all your Packers ticket needs. What's up, folks? We got some super chats lined up here. What's going on? Andrew Ware. What a finish. Heartbreak for the Croatians. Did I just miss it? Did Italy actually get a goal? Man, Italy looked on the ropes there for 95 minutes. Joey, what's going on, man? 2 congrats needed. First, congrats to Jordan Love's recent engagement, and congrats to Ed Policy, future of the Packers CEO. Go Pack Go. Yeah, no doubt. That's right. You mentioned Jordan Love putting on his Instagram last night. Man, what a baller. Hopefully that's the second ring he's involved with this year. Celestial, what's going on, man? Will Josh Jacobs be a top 5 back next year with the Packers? Ooh, good question. I doubt it, simply because of opportunities or lack thereof. We talked about Jacobs on Friday and how I wouldn't expect him to be a workhorse. And because of that, because of Matt LaFleur really liking to spread it around, trying to utilize different backs for different situations, and just keep guys fresh throughout the year, I do not doubt for a moment that Jacobs will be productive in the Packers offense. But I just don't think he'll have the opportunities to get into that top 5 conversation when it comes to production. And that's obviously no fault of his. It's just how the Packers operate, Now, you never really know how the season's going to go and play out as far as injuries go. Maybe because, maybe Dillon goes down and the rookie's not ready. All of a sudden they have to utilize Jacobs a lot more than they were planning, right? Even if they bring up Emmanuel Wilson, say, or whatever, then there's maybe a path for that to occur. But as it stands right now and as they're kind of constructed, I would tend to doubt it. Uncultured, what's up, man? We missed you last week. Starting us off with Running on Empty by Jackson Browne, Rock and Roll Party in the Streets by Axe, and Don't Tell Me You Love Me by Night Ranger. Night Ranger was my first concert, Brown County Arena. True story. 1 tickets off WIXX. John Semitovich, thanks for being a Care the G Club member, man. Congrats to Policy. I need to make it a policy to stop cheering for Croatian soccer and the lifeless Cubs, FML. Russ Ball have an age or term limit? Russ Ball does not have any kind of term or age limit. He is on the same plane as far as, the hierarchy in Green Bay. He is on the same plane as Brian and Matt. So he will answer to Ed when Ed takes over for Mark. Now, that does bring up one interesting point. He being Ed, Policy, could potentially change the power structure again if he so chose, if he thought, okay, this is what was needed at that moment in time with Mark Murphy. Okay, we've done very well, but I, being the president and CEO now, think one person should be in charge of football instead of all three reporting to me. There's the potential that he could go back to the Ron Wolf model, right? The Bob Harlan model of, having your general manager in charge of football. I haven't heard anything as far as policies thinking there. I mean, I'm just saying it's a possibility, but that is a fascinating kind of idea where policy could potentially do that if he so chose and he thought that was the best way going forward. Watch this space. Never know. I would love someone to ask him this question, and who knows? I'm sure some intrepid person on the beat will get to him eventually. Ed, thanks for the super chat. Man, you got to feel for Croatia. Congrats to policy. Murphy has set a pretty good standard to follow. Very much agreed, man. Very much agreed. There is zero doubt in my mind that those are some big shoes to fill. And I know Murphy's kind of public-facing side gets lampooned and ridiculed at times, but as far as his results and what he's done with the organization, it's hard to argue with the pelts on the wall that Murphy's had throughout his entire career in Green Bay. Matthew, how are you, man? Thanks for the super chat. Evening, Nags. Sending best wishes to all the Packers Cheesehead family. Every crap Monday at work. Come 10 p.m., I'm cheered up. Go Pack, go. Best wishes to all. Really appreciate you tuning in late at night on your side of the pond, Matthew. Right back at you. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you had a good weekend. Quinn, I got to say, any super chat that starts like this, I'm in full support of and or intrigued by. Nags, got drunk the other night, showed my wife 2023 Packer highlights and 2023 Love highlights. Talked about how great the crackback is and the importance of the jet sweep. Think we got a new Pack fan. Look at you, Quinn, making some converts in your drunkenness. Doing the Lord's work there, Quinn. Doing the Lord's work. Carrying the G. I love to see it. One spouse at a time across this great land of ours. Simatovic, thanks for the super chat. Italy scored on the last kick of the game. Cool. Look at all these folks watching the Euros. I love it. I love it. You guys know I've been obsessed, so it's good to see you all tuning in. Brian Price, thanks for the super chat. Shout out to Mark Murphy. One Super Bowl, a decade and a half of winning, Titletown, and maybe one more Super Bowl. Cheers to Mark Murphy. Well, don't forget that Super Bowl that he, kind of, well, he was in the right place at the right time for. He's an important part of positioning the Packers to potentially win several more. Like it's the bounce of a ball here, it's the bad call there, etc. That when it comes to the perception of there's the Patriots that kind of ruin the curve for everybody, right? But as far as you compare what the Packers have done under Mark Murphy throughout his tenure, he put them in a position to win. There's zero doubt about that. I mean, how many owners are there across the league where you could very much, very, very much question their commitment to winning football games? That was never the case with Murphy, ever. So to me, that's the most important part of his tenure. No doubt about it. Jeezy Baby, thanks for the super chat. Jordan Love, top 3 engagement in Packer history. David Bakhtiari is up there in the top 3. Who else had top 5 engagement? Important questions. Oh, Jeezy Baby, I know you know this, but I don't care. I love that these guys are, young, up and coming, and then they have their personal lives and they're willing to share it with us. But, as far as like who did it better than the other and what are the power rankings, come on, man. I don't even power rank Packers football stuff, let alone off-field stuff. But I'm really happy for Jordan. They seem like an amazing couple, and I'm very happy that he felt comfortable enough and they felt comfortable enough sharing it with the world. That's pretty amazing. And that's a very personal thing to be putting out there, especially when you have as many eyes on you as Jordan Love does at all times as the starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. It's pretty great. On culture, what's up, man? Question for Quinn. Did you also talk to her about you get a seal here and a seal here and run the play in the alley? I'm sure Quinn would have if he, was able to sober up a little bit. But you never know. Joseph, I miss Mark Murphy already. Michael, that's an excellent question. Do you think any Packers president will get inducted into the Hall of Fame? Hard to imagine a billionaire owner with the resumes of Harlan or even Murphy kept out. Random Packer, Randy Duncan. I think Harlan deserves serious consideration, especially when you consider how the league has positioned the Packers and utilized the Packers as far as marketing goes. They're a great story. To quote Cliff's book, the greatest sports story or the greatest story ever told. And Harlan is the reason that any of this still exists. Without Bob Harlan, a lot of it probably doesn't occur, and the Packers probably either move or dissolve, and that's it. So I do think, especially considered their standards and the way they won so many games and the intricate nature of the Green Bay Packers and the NFL when it comes to the history of the game, to me, Bob Harlan makes a world of sense, And I understand, Jerry Jones goes in because he revolutionized marketing and all that, and that's fine. But then you've got to flip around and look at Bob Harlan's contributions. And I don't think any impartial observer would say that he's not on the same level when it comes to, Jerry Jones being at the forefront of, the commerce side of things and the marketing side of things. Well, Bob Harlan not only took, this decrepit kind of, let's say it, falling apart entity that, could have been so much more throughout the kind of decades of losing, was falling into disrepair. And there were rumblings and whispers that it was time, right? A lot of owners were getting sick of the albatross that was Green Bay. And now, because of Bob Harlan, that has become, again, a leading element when the National Football League talks about the history of the game and promoting rivalries like the Packers and the Bears, and how that has really kind of solidified what it means to be part of the National Football League. I mean, and now you look at the expansion overseas, you look at the response in London, and undoubtedly what we're going to see in Brazil when it comes to worldwide fans and the connection that this team has across the globe. Again, it's not there without Bob Harlan. So, yeah, I think Bob should 100% get consideration for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. No doubt about it. Carl, thanks for the super chat, man. Haven't been here in a while. Hi. Kudos to Mark Murphy for his leadership of the pack. I hope Ed policy is a chip off the old block. Thanks, Nags. Thank you, Carl. Good to see you again. Yeah, I think, like I said at the top, I do believe Ed will be more similar than dissimilar to Murphy in a lot of ways. But, he will undoubtedly make his own mark and do things his way. And I'm fascinated to find out which avenues those kind of rear themselves in. Matthew, thanks again, man. England will win it all, Nags. Football, soccer is coming home. Then when I sober up, it's the start of the NFL season, and with the pack, smash it. Yeah, I got to tell you, Matthew, I don't feel great. Don't feel great about England. I'll be rooting for them. Always do, have since I was a kid. But yeah, I don't feel great about it. I think if there's a club or two clubs that you're probably kind of earmarking as far as potential champions here, it's Spain and Germany. Those are the two that look inevitable to me. Andrew Ware, thanks again, man. Preach, Nags. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Matt, that's a apt comment. I've heard it was health related, but what do you know about John Jones getting the CEO gig and then not getting it, and Murphy being hired? I know a bit. There was some reporting around it, and you're right. That was the story that was gone with, that John Jones had a heart-related issue, and after being named Bob Harlan's successor, Bob Harlan himself is the one who pulled the plug on John Jones. Now, further reporting has told us that after essentially Harlan kind of made the decision and the job was announced going to John Jones, there were rumblings in the background about some difficult kind of relationships and or acerbic management styles and real kind of personality issues within the building between Jones and a number of people, apparently. I don't think there's ever been a full accounting of just exactly who was, you know, who was in question here. Like, where were the conflicts? But I know that Bob Harlan then turned around and said, you know what? I've made a mistake. And that's when they convened the search committee, and that's when they found Mark Murphy. So, yeah, it's a very interesting little kind of niche part of Packers history that we don't know the whole story, but there's a little bit out there. There's a little bit. Michael, can we all agree that England has the world's worst national anthem, though? Give me Spain's hummable one any day. Spain's is excellent. There's no question about it. I will say it is just weird to me, still to this moment, when I hear people singing God Save the King. Like, it's been God Save the Queen my whole life until obviously Elizabeth passed, and now Charles is there, and they're singing God Save the King. It just doesn't fit. Doesn't fit. Doesn't feel right. But we'll see. I like a few of the anthems that we've gotten to hear throughout the Euros, and I will say it is amazing to watch the passion of not the players on the field. Obviously, they're representing their country, but the fans in the stands at the Euros. That's what I want Lambeau to be like. These folks come legit, man. You talk about a party atmosphere and absolute complete devotion to the game going on in front of them. Man, Lambeau should take notes. No doubt about it. All right, buddy. I'm going to have to get going. I cannot thank you enough for hanging out, talking Packers each and every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Cheesehead TV social channels. Please do me a monster favor and hit like on the video. Subscribe to the channel, and then tell your friends and tell your family. Cheesehead TV, we are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great night. Please check out my interview with Jordy Nelson. Went up on the YouTube channel here a couple hours ago. Jordy's headed to Brazil. He wants to take some Packers fans with him. He's traveling with a group called Sports Fans Travel. You can get in on the fun. The link is in the description of that video. Make sure you check it out. I also talked to him about his time with the Packers, his connection with Aaron Rodgers, all sorts of fun stuff. So make sure you check that out here on the YouTube channel. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great night. Go Pack Go.